coming to the buffer equation. So buffer equation is also called as the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. Buffer equation are also called as Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. By using this equation, we can determine the how much amount of weak acid or weak base or conjugated acid or conjugated base is required to prepare the buffer with particular pH. Or we can calculate the pH of a particular buffer solution. And when you see in the buffer equation for acidic buffers, so generally the pH of a acidic buffer can be determined or calculated from the dissociation constant. Dissociation constant, that means when the acid is subjected to ionization, so that means when the acid is subjected to ionization, then it can ionize it into two species, and here we can write the Ka as the dissociation constant. When you apply the law of mass action to this equation, so that is Ka is the dissociation constant of this ionization, and here we can write it as the so the dissociation constant of this equation is Ka is equals to concentration of the products divided by concentration of the reactants. For example, when you take the acetic acid and when it is dissolved in the water, it can able to dissociate into hydronium ion and acetate ion. Hydronium ion and acetate ion. So in the case of acetic acid, the acid dissociation constant Ka is nothing but the acid dissociation constant. So when you apply the law of mass action to the previous equation, then it comes as the product of hydronium ion and product of hydronium ion concentration and acetic acid concentration divided by the concentration of acetic acid. Or when you rearrange this equation, it will be concentration of hydronium ion is equals to Ka is multiplied with the concentration of acetic acid divided by the concentration of the acetate. And consider this one as the equation 1. Then when you add the sodium acetate to that solution, so generally we know that acetic acid is the weak acid and it is subjected to slight dissociation or slight ionization. Understood? So the weak acid is subjected to slight dissociation or slight ionization. And this slight dissociation or slight ionization is suppressed or decreased by the addition of salt, which is having the same common ion present in the acetic acid. Understood? So what is the common ion which is present in the acetic acid and sodium acetate? That is nothing but the acetate ion. Acetate ion. So when you add the sodium acetate, and this sodium acetate is the strong basic in nature, and thereby it is subjected to complete ionization, and so the high amount of acetate ions are produced. Due to the presence of high concentration of this acetate ion, the dissociation of acetate ions from the acetic acid is decreased. So this will be decreased. This will be decreased. That means it is not subjected to ionization. So actually, without any addition of this sodium acetate, there is a few amount of acetate ions are produced from this acetic acid. But due to the common ion effect of acetates which are produced from the sodium acetate, the dissociation of the acetic acid into acetate and H plus ions are suppressed or decreased. So for that reason, it reaching the same concentration as that of the initial concentration when it is added to the water. So that means it is retained as such. The acetic acid is retained as such in the water, so that it is not subjected to any dissociation. So in that case, so due to the common ion effect of acetate ion, so that means the acetate ion is reaching the equilibrium in the solution. So acetate ion, so which is produced from the sodium acetate. The acetate ion which is produced from the sodium acetate will reaching the equilibrium concentration in the solution, thereby it suppresses the ionization of acetic acid. It suppresses the ionization of acetic acid. So the acetic acid concentration is retained as such. That means it is equal to the initial concentration. In the same way, the concentration of acetate ion, is also considered as the initial concentration of salt which is added. So what is the salt? Sodium acetate is the salt, and so when you add this sodium acetate to the solution, it is subjected to complete dissociation. Into acetate and sodium ions. That means the concentration of the acetate will represent the concentration of this sodium acetate. So why? Because it is subject to complete ionization. We can represent the concentration of acetate ion as that of the concentration of the sodium acetate. For that reason, in equation 1, we will replace the concentration of this acetate ions with the concentration of that salt. Okay? When you rewrite this equation, the equation 1 is nothing but hydronium ion is equals to Ka, which is multiplied with the concentration of acetic acid divided by the concentration of acetate ion. But instead of acetate ion, we will replace that acetate ion with that of the sodium acetate salt. Instead of acetate ion, we will replace the acetate ion with that of the salt. Why? Because the concentration of the acetate is equals to the initial concentration of salt. So then we can rewrite this equation, that is the hydronium ion can be written as H plus ion concentration, and it is equals to the acid dissociation constant multiplied with the acid concentration divided by the salt concentration. Okay, and it is considered as the equation 2. And when you apply the logarithm on both sides of this equation 2, then we can written this equation as log H plus ion concentration is equals to the log Ka plus log acid divided by the concentration of the salt. Okay, and when you apply the negative sign on both sides of this equation, then we'll written this equation as negative logarithm of H plus ion concentration is equals to negative logarithm of acid dissociation constant minus, why? Because so when you multiply all the terms which are present in this equation with the negative sign, then it will be comes as negative log acid dissociation constant minus log acid concentration divided by the salt concentration. Okay, as we know that negative logarithm of H plus ion concentration is nothing but the pH, and negative logarithm of Ka is written as the pKa, or negative logarithm of acid dissociation can be written as, so when you replace these terms into this equation, then we can written as the pH is equals to pKa. So that means by replacing these terms into the equation, the pH is equals to pKa minus log acid divided by the salt concentration. Or we can written this equation as pH is equals to pKa. Why? Because minus log A by B is equals to log B by A. So this is the formula. So when you apply this formula to this equation, so the ratio will be reversed. There is a minus log acid concentration by salt concentration can be written as plus log salt concentration by acid concentration. And this will be considered as the, and this will be called as the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation for the acidic buffers. And by this equation we can determine the pH of the buffer, and also can determine the concentration of the salt and acid present in the buffers. Similarly, we can write the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation for the basic buffers. So in that case, when you take the buffer system, there is a, consider the basic buffer consisting of weak base and its salt, conjugated salt. So this is considered as this one as the basic buffer system. And when you see in the dissociation of these components, the weak base is subjected to partial ionization And when you write the base dissociation constant, that is a Kb, it is written as Kb is equals to product of concentration of the conjugated acid and concentration of the hydroxyl ion divided by the concentration of weak base, or it can be written as, so when you rearrange this equation, concentration of hydroxyl ion is equals to the basic dissociation constant multiplied by the concentration of the weak base divided by the concentration of conjugated acid. So assume this equation as the equation 1, and we know that weak base is subjected to partial ionization, and when the salt which is having the strong acid electrolyte is added to the solution, then the salt is subjected to complete ionization, and the common ion which is present in the salt and weak base will reaching the equilibrium. As I mentioned in case of acidic buffers, so the salt which is having the common ion will produce in a high concentration, thereby the common ion which is present in the salt and weak base will reach the equilibrium. So when it reaching the equilibrium, then it can decreases the ionization of this weak base into B plus and OH minus, into B plus and OH minus. Understood? So that means when it reaching the equilibrium, that means when the B plus ions are reaching the equilibrium, then the weak base concentration is equal to the as concentration of the initial condition. Understood? In the similar way, so the equilibrium concentration of the conjugated acid is equals to the initial concentration of the salt. That means since it is subjected to complete ionization, that means the total salt will be converted into the, so the equilibrium concentration of this conjugated acid is equals to the initial concentration of the salt. So we can represent this concentration as that of the concentration of the salt in the equation 1. So when you replace the concentration of conjugated acid with that of the concentration of the salt in equation 1, then we can write that equation as concentration of the hydroxyl ion is equals to product of base dissociation and concentration of the base divided by the concentration of the salt. This will be represented as equation 2. And when you apply the logarithm on both sides of the equation, we can get the equation like this. And when you apply the, and when you multiply the both sides of equation with the negative sign, we'll get the equation like this. That is the negative logarithm of hydroxyl ion concentration is equals to the negative logarithm of basic dissociation constant minus log of concentration of the base divided by the concentration of salt. And we know that negative logarithm of hydroxyl ion concentration is nothing but the POH, as same as that of the negative logarithm of H plus ion concentration is equals to pH, and negative logarithm of OH minus ion concentration is equals to POH. Okay, and similarly negative logarithm of Kb is equals to pKb. So when you substitute these terms in this equation, then we can write the equation as POH is equals to pKb minus log base by salt concentration. Or when you reverse these terms, then we can get the equation POH is equals to pKb plus log of salt concentration divided by the base concentration. Okay, so this is the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation for the basic buffers. When it comes to the application or significance of this buffer equation or Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, it helps in calculating the pH of buffer solution when the initial concentration of the salt and acid is known. Salt, acid and pKa is known. And it can useful for calculating the ratio of acid or base and its conjugated salt and its salts required to prepare a buffer with specific pH. So that means these equations are very much useful to determine the ratio of acid or base and salts required to prepare a buffer with this specific pH, and helps in calculating the pKa or pKb values of drugs from their pH values. So when you know the pH values of your drug, then we can calculate the pK and pKb values by using this equation. And it is also used for determining the solubility of the drugs at particular pH. So this equation is useful for determining the solubility of your drugs at particular pH. And this equation is also useful for determining the ionized and unionized portions of the drugs. So when you determine the ionized or unionized portions of the drug, it will be used to understand the absorption profile of these drugs. So that means absorption patterns of these drugs can be determined by knowing the ionized and unionized capability of the drug in a particular pH. And these equations are also useful for selecting the salt forming agents. So by using this equation, we can selecting the salt forming agents. So these are the applications or significance of the buffer equation or Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. Repeating once again the applications or significance. First one is the equation is useful for calculating the pH of the buffer when you know the initial concentration of the salt, acid and pK. And it is useful for determining the ratio of acid and salt required to prepare the buffers with particular pH. And we can determine the pKa or pKb values of your drugs from pH values. And we can know the solubility of the drugs at particular pH by using these equations. And we can determine the solubility of the drugs at particular pH, determining the ionized and unionized portions of the drugs, which will be useful for understanding the absorption pattern of the drugs. And finally, these equations are very much useful in selecting the salt forming agents. In case of water, when you consider water as the buffer solution, the equation, the Henderson-Hasselbalch equation or the buffer equation can be written as pKw is equals to pH plus pOH. And when you rearrange this equation, pH is equals to pKw minus pOH. And the pKw of the water is nothing but 14, and from this we can easily calculate the pH. And next we'll discuss about the buffer capacity. Buffer capacity is represented as the magnitude of resistance or the extent of resistance, magnitude of resistance or extent of resistance to change in pH. So when you consider this one as a buffer solution, so when you add 0.1 normal acid to this buffer solution, and this buffer solution, for example, it is having the pH of 4.5. Okay, so the pH of this buffer solution is 4.5, and when you add 0.1 normal acid, so that is about 1 ml to this solution. Then also the pH of the buffer solution doesn't change. When you add the 0.2 normal acid, we have for about 1 ml. So then also there is no change in the pH of this buffer solution. and when you go on increasing this strength of the acid at particular stage, so there is a change of buffer pH will observe. That means the buffer capacity is nothing but the capacity of the buffer to withstand the same pH against the strength of acid or strength of base is added into the solution. So that means when you go on increasing at a particular stage, it will change their pH. That means to how long they can withstand the same particular pH is considered as the buffer capacity. Understood? The capacity of the buffer or the magnitude of resistance of the buffer against the change in pH when you add the acid or base is considered as the buffer capacity. Okay, and this buffer capacity is also termed as buffer index, buffer value, or buffer efficiency, or buffer coefficient. So these are the other terms for buffer capacity. Repeating once again, the buffer capacity is nothing but the magnitude of resistance of a buffer against the change in pH by the addition of acid or base, or the efficiency of the buffer to withstand the same pH against the go on adding of acid or base. And this buffer capacity is represented as beta, and this will be equal to the ratio of increment of strong acid or base to the small change in pH brought about by the addition. So that means it is nothing but the ratio of acid or base that can able to brought the change in pH when they are added to the solution. So here in this equation, delta A or delta B represent the small increments of the acid or base. So that means in gram equivalents or liter of strong acid or strong base added, and delta pH represents the change in pH. Change in pH when the acid or base is added to this. So according to this equation, when you said that buffer capacity is equals to 1, that means 1 liter of buffer require 1 gram equivalent of either strong acid or strong base to change the pH by 1 unit. For bringing the 1 unit pH change in the buffer, so when you require the 1 gram equivalent of either strong acid or strong base, that means when you require the 1 gram equivalent of strong acid or strong base to bring 1 unit pH change in 1 liter of buffer solution, so in that case we can represent as beta is equals to 1. So that means buffer capacity 1. That means the buffer having the capacity as 1. Here we can see some examples for preparing the specific buffer solution. So there is a problem, that is, prepare a buffer solution of pH 5 from acetic acid and sodium acetate, and the pKa value of acetic acid is given as 4.7. In case of this problem, we have to prepare a buffer which is having the pH 5, and the information given in this problem is pKa value is 4.7. Okay, so when you take the 1 molar concentration of acetic acid, then we have to calculate the how many moles of base is required. Okay, so that can be done by using the buffer equation. And when you write the buffer equation in case of acidic buffers, that is nothing but pH is equals to pKa plus log of salt concentration by acid concentration. When you substitute the values in this equation, that means the pH required is 5 and pKa value is given in the problem, that is a 4.7, and log of salt concentration, we don't know the salt concentration, consider this one as the x, and we know that acid concentration, we assume that one as the 1 molar. Okay, so when you substitute all these values in the equation, then we get the 5 is equals to 4.7 plus log x concentration divided by the 1. When you apply the logarithm formula, that is log m by n is equals to log m minus log n. Then we can write it as 5 is equals to 4.7 plus log x minus log 1. And when you bring this 4.7 into the other side of this equation, then it is 5 minus 4.7 is equals to log x minus log 1. As we know that log 1 value is equals to 0, then it can be written as 0.3 is equals to log x. And when you apply the anti-log value, the x is equals to log inverse 0.3 and x equals to 2. So that means log inverse 0.3, and this can be get from the anti-logarithm tables. The logarithm inverse 0.3 is equals to 2. Thereby the x is equals to 2. So that means we require the molarity of the base is equals to 2. Okay. So when you take the 2 molar base and 1 molar acid, then we get the buffer solution which is having the pH 5. Students, up to now we discussed about the buffers. In that we discussed about the definitions for buffer action, buffer capacity. Then after we discussed about the different types of buffers and their mechanism of actions. The same way we discussed about the buffer equations for different types of the buffers, applications of buffer equation, and finally we discussed about the buffer capacity and its significance. In next class we are going to discuss about the pharmaceutical and biological buffer systems, buffer isotonic solutions, measurement of isotonicity, and different methods for adjusting the isotonicity. Thank you.